Our final movie is Audrey's Children. Eric and I saw this movie. Audrey's Children tells a story, untold true story of British physician Dr. Audrey Evans. Dr. Audrey Evans is played by Natalie Dormer, best known for her work in Game of Thrones. And she was in another movie that we all enjoyed. I'm going to pull that up in a second. But again, Natalie Dormer plays Dr. Audrey Evans. In 1969, she was the first female chief of oncology at the renowned Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Hospital of Philadelphia is known in the movie, at least, as CHOP. So Audrey's
She,
children.
real quick,
Yes,
she was in The Wasp. I think that's the movie we were talking about.
she was so good in The Wasp. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, we loved her in The Wasp. But yeah, it's what you think it's going to be, a medical drama about cancer at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And you get to figure out how British physician Dr. Audrey Evans made an impact on the battle against cancer, also advocating for the kids who are in that hospital for them to get better treatment for their respective cancer diagnosis. I don't even want to say what she did because I don't know, Eric, should we even say that? Because that might be a spoiler. Would it be crummy for us to say all of the things that she did because that would spoil people's enjoyment of the movie? I'm
I
gonna
don't,
let
I don't, I don't think so. I mean, it might be a cool thing at the end where it's like, oh, cool, she did that. I didn't know, but
yeah, okay. I
I
think
don't think it's that big of a deal.
well
I
let's
mean, it's a big deal that she did that, but it's not a big deal in terms of the where the story's going.
where the story is going to what Eric is saying is it deals with Audrey Evans. She is trying to fight for a more just aggressive treatment for cancer. She's met with a lot of pushback because in hospitals there is a lot of or like with any kind of institution, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and she tries to go a couple of steps further than she can go because she perseveres through all that red tape. See, okay, Clancy Brown, we know him from The Shawshank Redemption, a whole bunch of other movies. He plays her boss, C. Everett Koop. C. Everett Koop hires her, but unfortunately, he's the leader of the hospital, but he gets a lot of pushback from her, and a lot of the movie has them having going loggerheads over. He's saying, "Hey, you got to do your situation in a certain way," but she wants to skip a couple of steps because she knows time is of the essence, and that's understandable. So you get to see both points. Also, there's Jimmy Simpson, actor Jimmy Simpson. He plays Dr. Dan D'Angio, and he plays a sort of a collaborator with Dr. Audrey Evans. He initially is hesitant with working with her, but then as the narrative progresses, you see maybe possibly he might be a very important piece in furthering her research in cancer or furthering her advocacy for Audrey's children. Eric Holmes, your thoughts on this movie? I just wanted to say this. This is a medical drama that I thought it would go one way, but the fact that it really shows some of the maybe missteps or mistakes or just the situations, it doesn't portray Dr. Audrey Evans in a very shiny, angelic light. It portrays her
No.
in a human light, which I really appreciated. Eric, apologies for blabbering all this much. Your thoughts on Audrey's children?
Well, so you mentioned that she did something for children, like
Advocate. She was an advocate and
advocate.
advocate.
I don't know that she was. At least that I mean, I'm sure the actual person was. I didn't get that from the character. I got the
Okay.
character was constantly getting in her own way. But like for instance, there was that scene where they snuck into that building and they're trying to be real discreet about it. And then she's like, they see a bunch of people. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to him." You know, Jimmy Simpson's like, "No, what are you?" And then of course that blows everything. Like she's
Yep.
got so many things. I can give this cancer treatment to this kid. Like you
Yeah, you're gonna not follow protocol. You're not
Yeah,
following.
I
Yeah.
I understand the time is of the essence and you want to do that, but it's one of those things like if I just throw a bunch of drugs in a kid and it works, then I'm a hero. If it doesn't, I'm a murderer. Like
Right.
like so the way her character is kind of portrayed in this is like she's kind of flying off the handle on a bunch of stuff. The cool thing about this movie is that there's a reason that she needs to do that because there are
A
certain
hundred
things
percent.
that she just has to break through the wall because no one's going to let her in because she's a woman because they do play with that. I do like I do think this kind of handled that sort of thing a lot better than say like Hidden Figures.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like with Hidden Figures, it's like oh, we're black. Well, you can't do that because you're black, and then that's like the whole movie. And they didn't really focus on the science of what they did because the women that's about they did like extraordinary things, but the movie doesn't. lean on that. It leans on the uh focuses more on the oppression they had, which is fine. But this movie did that too. And they also take time to get into the science of what she does. And then the hardship she had to go through and how that interplays with, you know, what she's trying to accomplish in a short amount of time.
Eric,
And
did you find this movie to be a little bit too weepy or over sentimental? Because I didn't. I thought it was did
it started off that way that oh, you can't bring animals in here. It's like, well, here you go, bring them there, and then just like, skips off. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those movies. But that went away pretty quick. And like when they started getting into like the science of what she's doing, or they had like the not really courtroom scenes, but they kind of were courtroom scenes
yeah.
where they're like going back and forth, like explaining like what's going on. So you get like a lot of information like that. And I understand for some people that's like watching paint dry, but for me that's catnip.
I thought that would be watching paint dry for me, and it wasn't. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's good writing or just good acting, maybe both. It just was done
I,
well.
this has a lot of the stuff in it that I love about courtroom dramas. The back and forth, the different points of view. I think her character was a little cartoony in her aloofness, but overall, that was pretty good. I don't know how accurate it is. Like
Yeah.
I wonder if someone that knew Audrey Evans would like watch Natalie Dormer playing not her performance, but her playing Audrey Evans and like how careless and dangerous she's being. I
Right.
wonder how many people would watch this going, no, no, she would have,
Or maybe she wasn't as hard-headed as portrayed, or maybe that was for dramatic effect, or maybe she
yeah.
was a lot more accountable for her actions. That's sort of inferred in the. No, it's a movie.
Actually, they did take that because like towards the end, I think it was Jimmy Simpson. It was like, "Are you ever going to take account for anything you do?" And then just kind of stopped her in her tracks. So it's like that the movie knows this is a thing, and so it's not like playing it off and then just ignoring it. I don't know how accurate it is, but I liked how it played out and I like the back and forth.
It's a
It's throwing ideas out there, and it's not a black and white issue. There's a lot of gray area, and the movie plays with that. And I
it,
really enjoy that.
100%. There's a situation regarding Audrey Evans. She sees a house in Philadelphia and she has an idea about what to do with this house. We're not going to get into what the house becomes or what it doesn't become, but it's indicative of what her initial actions to that house are interesting. But then you see those decisions play out methodically up until the end, which is awesome. So we're going to leave that a secret, what happens to that house and how that affects. But I
Well,
was
actually, that scene with the house that threw me off because it's like that's it. That whole scene right there is kind of isolates kind of her problem.
right. No,
I want to buy the house. Why am I not going to sell it to you? Cool. There's millions of other houses. Just find it. Like, why does it have to be that one?
you're right. But it's one of those things where she had the right idea, but because of the protocol, it was a weird. Well, yeah, that's that house. The way it plays out, it plays out in very good fashion towards the end of the movie, and we'll get to that. But no, we won't get to that. Eric, you got to get to work. Your thoughts, your final thoughts on Audrey's Children and your rating.
This was really good. I'd seen. I mean, it's 4 stars. It felt like it was going to be.
A movie of the week.
Look, people love hidden figures. That's fine. I hated that movie. This felt like it was going to go down that route, and it ended up, you know, going somewhere a lot more interesting. That has a lot more to say. We're talking about Audrey's children.
Yeah.
What can you say about hidden figures? I agree. Racism is bad, but is it bad? Yes.
Right. Audrey's
Cool.
Children.
Well, that's the end of that conversation. With Audrey's children, it's got that gray area that feeds the conversation.
Right. And what's interesting is this is not a spoiler, but in the hospital, the workers in the hospital, at least the way it's portrayed in Audrey's Children, everyone's trying to do a good job.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to do the best by the effects of medicine, of protocol, most importantly, the children.
And when Audrey gets in trouble, like you're kind of well, sort of on her side, but like when she gets in trouble, you can sit there and watch it. Like the person or the group of people that are going to come down on her, you kind of, it's like, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
Like Audrey, I love you, but they're not wrong.
It's some really good sequences. Again, Audrey's Children may seem on the surface some kind of movie of the week, medical drama that you saw. Maybe Eric and I were
I
Eric's
changed
in
my
his
score. It's 4.5.
4.5 stars. Yeah. Look, I was gonna go with four. I'm gonna go 4.5 too. Well acted, well written. Also, Eric, you and I forgot to mention the story itself is worth learning about. I hate
Yeah.
to say it. I hate to say movies are
Now,
educational, but it's really good to know about this.
we brought this up. I don't know that this is the medium you want to learn the actual story because I don't know how close this is to it.
Right.
But I think as a movie and as a
Entryway, right? An entryway to her life, maybe
maybe
as as a primer.
I just like the conversation that this movie would kind of inspire. I don't want to put my neck out there and say, oh yeah, if you want to learn about Audrey Evans, this is the way to do it because usually not. And it feels like this might not be the best. Yeah, it's a good movie, presents good conversation. I don't know that this. I wouldn't want someone to watch this expecting this to be a documentary.
Okay. Well, Eric, do you mind on our edits and our cinematics, only our cinematics listeners listen to this? Do you mind if I improperly edit your thing and say Audrey's Children is a 100% way to actually present the life of Audrey Evans? Hashtag Eric Holmes cinematics movie blurb.
As
That'll
long
get
as
it.
the edit is completely like chopped and is like obvious, then.
We'll do.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
always get weird about that. Like anytime you do a movie about someone like the Weird Al biopic is obviously
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
horse crap. But like if you're doing something about someone real and people are gonna see that as real, I you know
I like to
it's
say,
fine. You don't have to. You can make a biopic and make it your own, tell a different story. That's why I hesitate to say yes. This is the way to learn about Audrey Evans. The way to learn about Audrey Evans is look her up and read about her
that's
and
it.
do all
That
that.
and what's great about Audrey's Children is it's a way you watch the movie, and then if you are so inspired, you can start reading about her. And let's be honest,
You absolutely should. Like, yeah,
you
the
should.
stuff she did was amazing.
Guess what? This also, if there's a documentary on Dr. Audrey Evans, guess who's watching it? I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not gonna detract from the movie watching. So, anyways, that's it. 4.5 stars for Eric Holmes. 4.5 for me for Audrey's Children. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.